Thanks for joining us here. You're watching a World Insight special with me, James Chow. Usually on this program, we round you up with the week's top news, but today we're going to do something a little different. Celebrating 60 years of the People's Republic also means looking at 60 years of Chinese diplomacy. In the past decade also, China's thrown open its red gates and worked more closely with the world than ever before. Last year's Summer Games was one example of that. The spirit of the Olympic movement of faster, stronger and higher can also describe the development of China's relations with the outside world. In the last 10 years, China has integrated into the international community at a faster speed. It's also demonstrated stronger interaction with other countries and also delivered a higher vision on the world stage than ever before.
August the 8th, 2008. The night belongs to Beijing and China. A joyous welcome to friends from afar. When the 2008 performers sing the poem from ancient China, the world is watching. During the Olympics, leaders from more than 100 countries visited. This was unprecedented in China's diplomatic history. Now China has relations with 171 countries. It's a sharp contrast from when the People's Republic was established in 1949. At the time, only 10 countries had diplomatic ties with China. Entering the new millennium, China shows its confidence on the world stage. It plays an active role in regional and global affairs. It increasingly integrates into the world community.
The Ministerial Conference so agrees.
November the 10th, 2001 is remembered by many Chinese. On that day in Doha, China became the 143rd member of the World Trade Organization. For this moment, China had been working for 15 years. And for Chief Negotiator Long Yongtu, it seemed never-ending.
I couldn't count how many times we held talks with the U.S. and how many times I went to Washington, but still we couldn't reach agreement.
As the U.S. is the largest economy in the WTO, reaching bilateral agreement with the U.S. was the hardest step for China's entry. On November the 14th, 1999, after 5 days of negotiations, the talks once again nearly broke down.
That round of talks was the centerpiece of our 6 years of bilateral talks for the WTO entry. The U.S. pressed China very hard to open up our market as much as possible.
The U.S. delegation declared they would head for the airport the next day. Premier Zhu Rongji called Long Yongtu and said, "Don't let them go. We must sign the agreement this time." Then the dramatic moment came. Zhu Rongji told the U.S. delegation, "I am here to make a decision, not to negotiate. The last 7 questions, we agree to 3 of them, and that's our biggest concession." 5 minutes later, the U.S. agreed. Charlene Narshevsky, the U.S. chief negotiator, spoke highly of her Chinese counterparts.
We dealt over many years with the Chinese team. As negotiators, as a team, they are very tough, very smart, and focused, very focused on China's interests.
China's entry to the WTO brought the country to the global economic stage. On the political ground, it was China's return to the United Nations in 1971. The famous UN Resolution 2758 restored the lawful rights of the People's Republic of China. On November the 15th, the appearance of the Chinese delegation led by Qiao Guanhua turned the World Disarmament Conference into a welcome ceremony for China. More than 30 years have passed since then. China has been making its contribution to the UN as one of the 5 permanent members of the Security Council. In 1992, China founded its first blueberry troop, which was sent to Cambodia on a peacekeeping mission. Since then, China has contributed over 12,000 peacekeepers to UN operations. Nearly 2,000 Chinese personnel are now on active duty.
China has played and is playing a big role. And China's influence on the decision-making in the elaboration or development of the international rules and regulations is increasing.
China's contribution to the world community has also brought some Chinese to top positions. On November the 8th, 2006, Margaret Chan was elected Director General of the World Health Organization, the first Chinese to head a UN agency.
I felt most thankful to the 1.3 billion people behind me and also to the Chinese central government.
Chan had faced strong competition from 10 other candidates. In the first round, only 5 were left standing. Besides Chan, Julio Frank from Mexico, Shigeru Omi from Japan, Kazem Bakbihani from Kuwait, and Elena Salgado Mendez from Spain. And for Chan, 3 difficulties lay ahead. China had no experience in this type of election. It hadn't built any alliances, and some Western countries tended to attack China on issues like human rights. Nevertheless, Chan defeated Mexico's Julio Frank 24-10 in the final round. One person even cried after Chan's victory. Sha Zukang at the time, the Chinese ambassador to Geneva.
First, I'm happy. I've never been so happy in my life, in my diplomatic career. Let me say, there is a saying, the first one who, tries to eat the crab is a hero, is a hero. We tried for the first time, and we succeeded for the first time.
Now Chan has been heading the WHO for nearly 3 years. Her work not only represents herself, but the image of China. Besides Chan, other Chinese are also in leading positions of international organizations. In November 2006, Zhao Holing was elected Deputy Secretary General of the International Telecommunication Union. In July 2007, Sha Zukang became the UN Under-Secretary General for Economic and Social Affairs. In November 2007, Zhang Yuejiao was appointed a judge of the World Trade Organization's appellate body. In February 2008, Lin Yifu was appointed Chief Economist and Senior Vice President of the World Bank. China's diplomatic maneuvers have been key to the country's rising influence in the world. And with these successes, China's integration into the world has entered a new era.
In June 2001, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization was established in Shanghai. On July 13, 2001, Beijing won the bid for the 2008 Summer Olympic Games. In April 2002, the first annual conference of the Boao Forum for Asia was held in Boao, Hainan Province. The forum provides an important platform for regional cooperation. On December 3, 2002, Shanghai won the bid for the 2010 World Expo with the theme of Better City, Better Life. On August 27, 2003, Beijing hosted the first round of the six-party talks. Since then, China has played a critical role in efforts to solve the DPRK nuclear issue peacefully. On October 30th, 2006, the commemorative summit marking the 15th anniversary of dialogue relations between China and ASEAN opened in Nanning, capital of South China's Guangxi Zhuang Autonomous Region.
A big basketball night between China and the US. George W. Bush was in the stands. Sitting next to him was Chinese Foreign Minister Yang Jiechi. During last year's Olympics, the Bush family spent a happy time in Beijing. For the Chinese Foreign Minister, the Bush family were old friends.